place where your arm hurts is almost never where the problem actually is. I know that sounds strange, especially when the ache is right there in your bow arm or your wrist or your forearm or whatever, and it has been for a while. But if you get tension and pain when you play the violin, that spot that hurts is usually just the place where a much bigger whole body pattern happens to land. And once you can see that pattern, the thing you've been fighting for years can finally start to let go. My name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a professional violinist, a certified Alexander technique teacher, and the author of Soulforce. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn why your bow arm tenses up even when your setup looks fine. One simple thing you can try in the next 5 minutes to feel your arm move more freely, and why the usual advice, use your arm weight or drop your shoulder, can actually make the whole thing worse. All right, first things first, when talking about injuries, if you have a sharp or a specific kind of pain, it's worth ruling out an actual injury with someone qualified. That matters. Okay, so do that. But for ordinary tension and repetitive strain injuries, for the slow, creeping strain that so many string players just learn to live with, what I'm about to show you tends to be the real root. So here's my first question, and I read every comment, so comment below, when your bow arm tightens, where does it grip first? In your shoulder, the upper arm, the hand, or maybe somewhere else in your body entirely, like your jaw or your breath? So tell me below, and I'll reply with where else you could look. So let me show you what I mean by a whole body pattern before we touch the instrument at all. So put both arms up over your head and wiggle your fingers. Okay, just notice how that feels, how freely they move. And now keep your arms up, but push your head down towards your chest. Okay, like you're pressing into a chin rest, and wiggle your fingers again. Do you feel the difference? Do you see the difference? So almost everyone notices the same thing. The moment your head goes down, your arms get heavier, your fingers are harder to move, and the arms don't even want to go up all the way. Nothing changed in your hands. You changed something at the other end, somewhere else, and your hands paid for it. And that's the whole idea of this video in 15 seconds, okay? So your body isn't like merely a collection of separate parts. It's more like a web, or one of these tensegrity models, where you pull one string and the whole structure shifts, or you clamp on one part and the whole structure clamps. So when you try too hard in a difficult moment, and we all do, right? You don't just tense one spot. You clench your jaw, you grip your gut, you scrunch your feet, you tighten your neck, all at once in one unified pattern. That whole body squeeze pulls on everything at once. And it happens to show up worst in whatever spot is most loaded, or it just happens to be most tense for you. And this is why one violinist or violist gets bow arm pain, and another gets left hand pain, and another gets it in the neck or the back or the jaw. There's nothing about holding a bow that dooms you to hurt in one particular place. The place is just where your pattern gathers the most tension. It's almost random. And that's the real reason stretching, massage, and strengthening give you a day or two of relief, but then it comes right back. They're working on the spot, and the spot was never the cause. So here's the thing that I promised, and you can do this with me right now. So lift your right arm up as if you're bringing the bow to the string, but as you do so, deliberately hold your shoulder down, right? Pin it. Feel that? So your arm is going up and your shoulder is going down, 2 directions at the same time. And everything in between has to brace to manage that fight going on in 2 different directions. So the bracing is your bow arm tension. So now try it again. This time, let your shoulder come along for the ride. If your arm goes up, your shoulder goes up, right? If your arm goes left, your shoulder goes left, all of that. So as your arm rises, let your shoulder gently rise and travel with it easily, right? Like one part of the web, following the pool. So notice, did you get tighter or freer when you do this? For most people, the arm suddenly feels lighter, or at least a little bit, and it goes up, further with less effort. And so here's the part that people often get backwards. Having your shoulder up is not the problem, right? Hunching can be uncomfortable, and your shoulders go up when you hunch, but up is not the problem. The tight is the problem, all right? A shoulder can be down and tight too, which is just as stuck as up and tight. So it's not the direction that matters, it's the quality. You have to let it move with you. All right, and so this is why the most common piece of advice, use arm weight when playing, can actually work against you. It sounds right, but it's too unidirectional, it's too simplistic. If you truly just drop the weight of your arm down, then you get too much weight into the string. Your arm is heavy, right? And you get this crunchy, scratchy sound. And then you fight that, and now you have two problems. The pressure that actually makes a beautiful sound doesn't come from pressing down. It comes from a small rotation, pronating, rolling your arm gently towards the first finger, which lets you meet the string with sensitivity instead of force. And if double stops make you clamp as well, try this. Pause a couple seconds before practicing each of them, and then instead of pressing harder to catch both strings, stay soft and change the angle of the bow. So you'll find the second string with feel and not force. Now, I've shown you all of this on the violin because that's my instrument and you can see it, right, when it's happening, but look at what the actual problem was. One part of you going one way while another part gets pinned against it. There's nothing violin specific about that. A guitarist locks the fretting shoulder, a pianist braces both wrists, a singer clamps the jaw. It's the same web, it's the same fight. So whatever you play, here's how to find it in yourself. Catch the moment you get ready to do the hard thing, and notice when you're still holding one part while another part moves. That spot is your version of the shoulder being pinned down, which so many violinists and violists do. So a quick thing before we keep going, if this is landing for you, it probably will land for someone you know. If you have a friend or a student who white knuckles every hard passage and keeps blaming their arm for it, do them a favor and send them this video. It might be the thing that finally makes ease click for them. So here's the deeper piece. So tension isn't really a where problem, where it hurts. It's a when problem. When are you getting tight? It shows up at specific moments. The instant you lift your instrument, the bar before the fast run, the shift, the second you see the conductor's baton going up. So these are moments when the try too hard habits sneak in, right? Usually without you feeling it. I recently worked with a professional violinist in a stretch of high pressure playing, and he came in with nerve issues, cold spots, sharp little pains in his arms, and this was, in my opinion, a nervous system stuck in emergency mode. So we didn't rub the arm, we didn't stretch or strengthen, we widened his attention so he wasn't tunneling in to the notes, because that's where a lot of tension comes from, that kind of tunnel vision, getting so focused on the notes you can't pay attention to anything else. And we just took 2% of the effort out of every movement, and after that he said, well, it's definitely better not focusing on the local area, right? Because when you over-focus, you get tight. And so his whole arm let go once the whole system did, right? And that's really the lesson here. So let's try that shoulder and arm move one more time, and tell me in a comment, are you getting tighter or freer when you let your shoulder move, or when you keep it pinned down, like I have to keep my shoulders down kind of idea. So I want to know what you noticed. It tells me a lot about where you're holding and what your patterns are. So think of it like a sailboat. If one line on the sail is pulled too tight, you don't fix the rigging by tightening all the other lines. You just make the whole boat groan under the pressure. So you loosen the one that's fighting, right? Repetitive strain injuries have a specific root cause, and it isn't weak muscles or bad mechanics. It's the habit of tensing when things get hard. Strengthen all you want. If the habit is still there, the strain comes back. But ease that habit at the critical moment, and the bow arm tends to free itself, and you get more sensitive, get a more sensitive, expressive sound in the bargain. And that's the whole of my work, really. How to be at ease in the face of a challenge. So if you're a violinist or violist dealing with tension and pain that just won't quit, a couple options. I recently made a shoulder rest trap webinar where I share how to find the setup that will fit your body in a relaxed state so you can feel comfortable and play longer without tension. And especially if you have like 10 shoulder rests in a box somewhere in your house, this one's for you. Or you can also sign up for a free one-on-one call with me, no pressure. You just tell me your story, and I'll see if there's any way I can help. And then tell me down in the comments, like, what do you notice when you try moving your arm in this way? Does your shoulder go down or up? Do you get tired or free, or when does that happen? So just let me know, and I'll respond. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. I'll see you next time.